Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again. And here's the second video that I've done today after that previous iPad mini 5 unboxing. So turning the corner here from Apple and going now to an Android phone, the Oppo Reno. And this is the Oppo Reno I got the other day. And now I just want to go through and give you guys my 48-hour review of this phone. We'll do a quick rundown of the specs of this phone. And then I want to share some camera samples that I've been taking with it. But before we do that, I got to just tell you, this phone has been pretty interesting, but I will be completely honest, it is not my favorite phone. And in fact, it's nowhere near close to my favorite phone, and I'll explain that reasoning at the very end. A lot of it has to do with the software, but also a lot of it has to do with the level of performance, which I'm surprised has been a little bit laggy here and there in the interface. But in terms of, let's jump right into it, into the version that I have. It's the Oppo Reno. This is the 8GB, 256 gig version. Now, the thing that you guys were mentioning, and I know this was something that was a concern, this is not the 10x zoom version. And in fact, when I was looking into this phone, I was a little confused at the time because I realized now there are two variants of this phone. There is the variant I have, which is the Snapdragon 710 version. That comes with the standard 48 megapixel shooter on the back. And then there's the 10x zoom version, comes with that 10x periscope, which is, if I'm not mistaken, an f3.0, and it is basically a completely different phone. That one's got the Snapdragon 855. It's probably the one you guys are most interested in seeing. That's not out until later in May, for purchase, so I'm reviewing this one for now. But what's the cool thing about this phone? Obviously, the main thing is that shark's fin pop-up, and let's see if I can get the sound of it. Let's do that again. There it is. It does make some sort of a camera sound, and I'll jump into that in the camera section very soon. But let's go into what's inside the box real quick right here. This is a very unique box. It's much taller than what I'm used to seeing, and it almost feels like I'm, unboxing a watch here. It's really interesting. Now you see there's Oppo, and I'm trying to pull out the just typical books and all that stuff, toss it aside. Now what is in here is actually a bit better of an unboxing than I expected. There is the USB-C charging cable. And apologies for the sights and sounds of Hong Kong outside. Looks like there's a fire or something going on nearby. Hope they're okay. And this is the Oppo charger. It looks like this is the 20-watt charger. And there you go. And it's nice, they've also included these headphones. Once again, some EarPod knockoffs, but hey, I don't mind it. Free headphones in the case, in the box. So that is a welcome sight. And it's nice to see that they've included all that. There's your SIM ejector tool. But a pretty unique unboxing here. And I do like the front of the box too. It's got that nice shimmer. And it's pretty cool, I gotta say. It's a nice unboxing experience. But let's jump right into it. Let's not waste any time talking about the basic design of this phone. So it is a bit thicker than the phones I've been testing at 9mm. You can see it there. It's definitely a little bit thicker. And I think that has a lot to do with trying to get that battery capacity of 3,765 milliamperes in there and getting that pop-up all designed into this 9mm frame. So it's a little chunkier than I would like, but I don't mind it actually. In terms of weight, it's 185 grams. So it's not really that heavier than, like, let's say the Redmi Note 7, and it's definitely lower than, let's say, the iPhone XS Max, which is in the 200 plus gram range. It feels good, it feels solid, but I do wish it was just a little bit sleeker, and I think they've mitigated that with these curved edges. Now, in terms of this matte back, this is the green color, and as you can see, it is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, but not to the level of any glossy phone. Any glossy phone is going to just completely look terrible once you put your hands on it. And there's this little stripe here designed by Oppo. You see the little button on the edge. And the one other thing I really like is that the camera sensor is completely flush. That is one positive for being able to achieve such a thick phone, is that they've been able to create a completely flush, no actual bump, and that is a welcome sight. There we see the volume rocker, the SIM tray, and there's the pop-up for the shark's fin power button. It's got this kind of nice little green edge there. And then we have this kind of flat bottom. It's not the best designed phone, I would say, but it's not the worst. It's definitely going to be something you may like in this color, but maybe in another color. I think that this was the black color of the phone. I think they actually have they do have a black version, but they have like a purple and they have this beige color. I picked green because I like green and I don't mind it. It looks nice in the lighting you see there, but I still think it's not as sleek as some of the other phones I've been testing. And speaking of those other phones, let's do a quick we'll do like a quick design comparison between a few of the other ones. Here is the P30 Pro, which I know I haven't done my full video on yet. Stay tuned for that. It's coming soon. And with the Xiaomi Mi 9. Now, I kept this Mi 9 version of the phone, and if I gotta say, it's kind of nice to have a bit of a matte feel versus the very glossy look of these. These are fingerprint magnet phones. You take them out of the case, these things are gonna go completely just fingerprinting all over. But you know what? I think this may be good for certain people who want that kind of OnePlus 6T matte vibe. And Oppo being, you know, the parent company there of those, it is going to be really a nice design for some people. And I guess a bit more of a discreet design than these really snazzy colors coming out of the P30 Pro and the Xiaomi Mi 9. So jumping right into display, 6.4 inch, guys, full HD display. And this phone, because it is able to do what it's doing with the shark fin there, is able to capture an almost 93.1% screen to body ratio. There's a little bit of a chin at the bottom, but it's not a deal breaker at all. In fact, it's probably the size of the OnePlus 6T's chin. It looks great. This panel looks awesome, and I really can't say anything negative about it. It's DCI-P3, Corning Gorilla Glass 6, and it is AMOLED, and you can see there you can change the actual color temperature to make it much cooler or to make it much warmer. I like the default. I'll keep it around there. And apologies for the lighting. Again, guys, it is just Hong Kong. It goes from sunny to rainy, sunny to rainy. It doesn't know what it wants to do. So bear with me on that. I'm lowering the brightness more because or else it's just going to blow out. But there are the colors. Let me bring it a little closer here. And cycling through the photos. This is a solid panel. In fact, I would not be surprised if this panel was the same as the one on the OnePlus, maybe on even the future OnePlus 7 that's coming out. This panel looks great. It's vibrant and no notch, no punch hole. You're not going to have to worry about that. It is just great. And watching content, let me show you guys a little bit of Frankie Tech. Shout out to Joe Rogan. Love your podcast, man. So listening for dialogue, you hear it. It sounds really good. Let's lower the volume a little bit, and boom. Well, if you wanted to have the most bezel-less phone of 2019, this just about covers it. And I really believe this is what the experience is going to be like on the OnePlus 7 when it comes out in a couple of months. This Oppo Reno is doing it, and it's doing it as bezel-less as can be. Unbelievable. Apologies, had to stop filming there as another ambulance went by. What is going on in town today? DRM Info, there you see it, L3. And that is unfortunate because, you know, recently I've been testing a few more phones that aren't having that situation. For example, here is the P30 Pro, and it does have L1 CDM wideband. That means HD Netflix automatically on the P30 Pro, but on the Oppo Reno, at least this China version that I have, there's no HD Netflix. And that siren just stopped. It's a good thing, so I can keep going here. Talking about battery life, 3,765 milliampere power pack. This is going to be different from the 4,000 plus power pack that's going to be in the Oppo Reno 6.6 version. That's going to be the one coming out, like I said, in May with the 10x zoom and with the Snapdragon 855. But I think so far I've been getting pretty decent battery life. These numbers don't really make as much sense, but I can assure you that this phone is definitely going to last. Now, is it going to last to the level of some of the other beasts that I've been testing, like the P30 Pro, like the any of the 4,000 milliampere phones like the Redmi Note 7 Pro? I don't think it will. And that AMOLED, maybe that'll help with efficiency. I'll have to do my full battery testing on these phones. I have quite a few more now, so maybe it's time for another drain test soon. But let's wait on that, and I will decide when is the best time to do it, because those are nuts. Jumping into performance real quick, there are the Geekbench results, and so this is clearly showing you guys this is the major differentiator on this Oppo Reno versus the future version of the Oppo Reno that will be coming out, the 855. Not the best scores. definitely a mid-range performance here. But if this is something that you don't care much about, and if these scores, if you're used to using like the Snapdragon 660, the 675, the 712, these scores are okay. And I mean, I think for performance, the bigger question is going to be related to the UI and the experience using the phone day to day. And that's where my major concern comes, and it's with the software. And I don't think that this chipset is actually a bad chipset, but when it comes down to using Color OS, and I'll even show you the version of Color OS that I'm running right now. There's Color OS version 6.0. Now, they've done a few improvements here that I appreciate. So, like, one thing I complained about in the previous iteration was that this did not have this kind of translucent effect, and the buttons, as you can see in the notification tray for Color OS, have adjusted slightly there too. I don't mind it as much now, but I still don't love it. At least it's not like Untitled OS where you have these annoying swipes from the bottom, and the multitasking has improved slightly as well. But there have just been moments where I have opened apps and I've kind of been in and out of apps, and it's taken a little bit longer than expected. I don't know if I'm going to be able to replicate these, but in terms of performance, I think that maybe with some software updates, and I have gotten a few software updates on this Oppo Reno, it will do better. But if that's a concern, and I think it would be a concern with this type of OS, you may want to wait for that Snapdragon 855 version, which will be able to fly through and actually not have those kind of issues that this Oppo Reno may be having. I can't replicate them right now, but if I can eventually get one on a quick video, I'll send it out to Twitter, I'll send it out to Instagram to show you guys what kind of issues I'm dealing with sometimes. And most of them were when I was actually downloading some of the apps and when I was kind of opening some stuff up. It just had some scrolling, some weird issues. And I think beyond that, though, the Snapdragon 710 is still a worthy processor. But at this price point, especially with the Mi 9, what it's offering, it's really a tough sell. I'm going to say, honestly, it's a tough sell. And just a little bit of gaming here on the Oppo Reno. Obviously, the camera's the main deal on this phone, but it's nice to know because of that bezel-less, fully bezel-less experience, you're going to get some awesome gameplay on this phone. No notch to worry about. I think for all you notch haters, all you punch hole haters, all that stuff, this is the ultimate phone for you. And now I think what I love about it is that we're starting to see this in mid-range phones. You haven't seen this type of bezel-less experience in any phone without a flagship chip in it. So this is actually a very unique phone in the sense that it is a mid-ranger, but it does have this really awesome look to it. Now, I know there have been a few other Vivo phones out that have that kind of look, but none of them have had this motorized type of pop-up camera in the way that the Oppo Reno does, and it's just awesome. It's a really awesome experience. We got USB-C. We don't have the compromises that you get in the Vivo V15 Pro, the U11, like I think the F12 Pro. Those phones all had compromises in that they didn't include USB-C out of the box. This phone does, and so that's why I think from a gaming perspective, if you want to get a mid-ranger with this kind of look, this is it, guys. This is the ultimate phone to get that gives you that awesome gameplay experience. Aha, and you didn't think I could finish a review without playing some PUBG Mobile. You were right. Look at this specs requirement here. It is selecting high, which for this Oppo Reno with the Snapdragon 710, it is a good thing to see. It's not recommending medium right off the bat. And so here we go. Let's jump into one game. But the one thing I got to tell you I'm so happy about, look at the default setting of the game. It is using every single inch of this display and maybe one of the most immersive looking PUBG experiences that I have seen in a phone. This is awesome. This is just awesome. Let's get started here. And we'll just do a little bit of gameplay before jumping into the next section. Everything looks pretty good so far. And you know what I'm running down to do. Ooh, and there were a few frame drops there. But it's time for the classic Frankie Tech swim test. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Okay, and here we are before the jump, and the phone does not feel warm at all. I mean, considering the chip that's inside this phone, you don't really miss it. Like, at least when it comes to playing these games, I still think the Snapdragon 710 offers a lot. And yes, it's not going to be bringing you that, that flagship experience of the 855. But really, guys, I think any chip still above the 660 is going to be able to play PUBG beautifully, with maybe only a slight few more hiccups here and there. Now let's see if I can land right on the bridge. There we go. Coming down. Oh, I just missed it. So let's run and get some supplies, get some guns, get some action. Okay, so I'm all stocked up. I think I saw someone there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, take that. Okay, that was a quick kill there. Didn't see that person showing up. Okay, let's go into the wilderness. Okay, let's looking around. I see a teammate there. Oh man. Take that. They are gone. Oh, someone's shooting me on this side. There you go. Wow, I haven't had 3 kills that quickly in a game in a long time. And there you go. Look at the edge-to-edge gameplay on the Oppo Reno. I think it's safe to say that considering all of the cool hardware innovations that this phone has, it's good to know that once you're in the app, once you're in PUBG or whichever games you're playing, you're going to have a great time on this phone. And now the audio speaker test, bringing in the Xiaomi Mi 9 to serve as the competitor here to the Oppo Reno. Gonna move the mic down and let's have a listen. And what can I say? I think the Xiaomi Mi 9 is a little bit louder, and at some moments it sounded more pleasing. But as I mentioned before, the Mi 9, once it gets up there in that 100% range, it becomes a little bit tinny and a little bit kind of just not pleasing in terms of sound. The Oppo Reno doesn't sound great, but I think at the very least, at that 100% mark, I do appreciate the sound a bit better. The voices are a little bit clearer, although I don't think it gets as loud as the Mi 9. So take it what you will here. Both of these speakers are not the best in phones, but maybe the Oppo Reno has a slight edge at that 100% mark. And last but not least, the camera. This is the one you've been waiting for. And so I understand this isn't the 10x zoom version, but don't think that the cameras on this phone aren't solid. In fact, this is a 48 megapixel f1.7 main sensor here, but there is then a second 5 megapixel shooter on this, and it is capable of shooting 4K up to 30 frames per second. Now going into the interface, it's pretty basic, so I kind of like the fact that there's not too many options. Sometimes you're just overwhelmed with options in phones. So you have photo, and you have a 1 and a 2x zoom, and then you have portrait mode. Portrait mode, gosh, there's so many beauty modes on this phone, it's kind of nuts. And as you can see up here, there's also this thing called dazzle mode. I've taken a few photos with it, but it kind of just enhances the colors, doesn't make things look that much better. So I've kept it off for the purpose of the shots I've taken for this video, and left HDR on. But I will show you these camera samples, but let me show you guys once again the thing that you want to see the most. And there's another way you can actually trigger this shark's fin. So it's not just in selfie mode, although I will show you the selfie mode first. So there's selfie mode. There I am, all my my bad hair day visible to you guys. And as you can see, the shark's fin went up. Now let's close it up and show you what happens. Boom. It's pretty immediate. And it does have this sound. Let me try to get it right next to the sensor, to the microphone. Can you hear that? So I'm not sure if you could hear that. It makes this little zzz sound, and it doesn't sound bad at all. But the way I was going to show you guys how this can be triggered as well is if you have flash. And so if you put it on, the flash will be ready to shoot. And there's this other awesome thing called fill light, which automatically will just create extra lighting for the shot. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for anything beyond, just a very dark situation, very dark scenario, but it's nice to know that you can do that. I'll turn off flash and it automatically closes. And so as you can see here, there's also a night mode, there's pano, expert, time-lapse, and slow-mo. Now I've taken a couple samples here, but let's do a quick shot of BB-8. And as you can see, the AI is trying to guess what BB-8 is. It said it was food for a second there. No, this is definitely not food, but we're on the macro lens. Let's take a shot, have a look at the results. And there you go. You see, that's pretty good. This is going to be the same sensor that's going to be on the Snapdragon 855 version. This is going to be the sensor that, you're going to be shooting 99%, 95% of all the shots on the Oppo Reno 10X. So other than the periscope thing, which is really cool, that is all you're losing on this standard version. And I think overall, I'll show you these shots in a second, it makes for a pretty good camera experience. But have a look at these samples. Let me know what you think in the comments, how we did. This is rear-facing video on the Oppo Reno. 1080p here. This is the standard out-of-the-box setting. Looks pretty good so far. Stop to look at the image there. Pretty nice car, eh? Well, it looks pretty good so far. Hit me up in the comments, what do you think? And this is front-facing video on the Oppo Reno. Shark's fins out. It's so cool because when it's in this mode, it is very unique. It's like nothing else I've ever seen on a phone. But hit me up in the comments, what do you guys think of the quality? And I'm going to turn around here, get a little bit of the view there. Some movement behind. Almost got killed, but I do it for you guys. So that's it for this 48-hour look and my final verdict here on the Oppo Reno Standard Edition. And I can really sum it up by just saying bezel-less beauty, bad software. Look, I feel like this is almost like a recurring thing, and it's like a broken record saying the same thing over and over again. But as long as I keep testing these phones and give you my honest take, yes, ColorOS version 6.0 has improved some things, but it is still ColorOS, and it is what brings down an otherwise really solid phone. I think Oppo is the new innovation king in hardware. They are doing stuff with this kind of motorized technologies with their Oppo Find X. That was the first phone that had a really cool kind of pop-up, and this is the second gen, I feel. I love the fact that this thing exists. This is, you know, the China manufacturers trying different stuff, and the more they iterate on these kind of motorized pop-ups, the better they're going to get. This feels completely sturdy, by the way, and you see me try to push it down. It doesn't go down, guys. And that's putting quite a bit of force on it. So they are making these things sturdier. This feels far more sturdy than the kind of pop-up that was on the Vivo NEX series. And I think this is great. This is like a really awesome thing to see. If they include this shark's fin on the OnePlus 7, which I don't think they will, but, you know, I think that would be something to consider, because this Oppo Reno has probably what I'd say is the best pop-up on any smartphone today. But it's still ColorOS 6. And because of that, just because of all of the annoyances of ColorOS, I just can't wholeheartedly recommend this phone. And I would say if you really want to get this Oppo Reno and you really just want to go all out, then wait for the Snapdragon 855 version. If you can get your hands on it, it's definitely more expensive than this one. This one was in the range of almost $500 already. And when you think about the value proposition of a phone, let's say like the Xiaomi Mi 9, which is coming in at 2,999 yuan, a Snapdragon 855 in the out of the box, that's hard value proposition to defeat. In this case, the Mi 9 would just be the better overall option, I think, for all of you guys. But if for anyone who's a notch hater, a punch hole hater, someone who just wants to have the most immersive gameplay, visual, and just awesome experience, and have the best pop-up motorized kind of selfie camera on the market, you have it right here in your Oppo Reno. But hit me up in the comments. What do you think of this phone? Would you buy this phone? And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. So that was the second video I've shot today. Been very busy doing it. And I think this video is probably gonna do a little bit better than my previous iPad mini unboxing. Oh, you guys hate Apple so much. It's hilarious sometimes. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching it. More great content coming up, including my Xiaomi Mi 9 versus P30 Pro versus Galaxy S10 Plus comparison. Don't think I've forgotten that one. I've been taking photos this whole week and can't wait to share that whole video with you guys very soon. And once again, to all you guys, long vacation weekend here. And to any of you who do celebrate, a happy Easter to you all. And all the best. This is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Y'all have a good one.